Hi guys, good afternoon and welcome to Moneycontrol. I'm Karunya Rao and with me is Manisha Gupta and we're here to tell you what's cooking in the world of commodities. All eyes on cocoa and sugar prices. Of course, there is the wedding season which is ongoing. Christmas is a big time when a lot of demand comes in for these agro commodities. So talk to us about the prices and the way they are behaving ahead of that.
Well, yes, talk about sweets and mithais and cakes and brownies and shakes and anything sweet, and you are into that kind of a season where you are looking at sugar and cocoa prices. To be fair, we'll start with sugar prices first, and we did see a high of around 7 months in this month itself. And if you look at the sugar prices for the month of November, we are up by nearly 10% right now. There has been some profit taking on the higher side, but that clearly has been the case across commodities because of the bit weakness that we have seen in case of the dollar index. But with the way the sugar is going, the expectations are that the demand is going to be in a sweet spot here right now. For the Indian markets, we are looking at an all-time high sugar demand this time around. This year is looking at 27.5 million tons of sugar consumption in India, which is a record high. And with the wedding season and festivals ongoing,
And record number of weddings happening.
well, yes, 3.2 million weddings from now to February. Well, absolutely. And the expectation is that during this wedding season, the sugar demand can go up by 10 to 15%. So that much more sugar is what people are going to eat.
So, do we have enough inventory for, to supply and cater to so much demand? And more importantly, if we talk about actionable idea or actionable recourse, should one trade or buy into sugar right now despite the 10% run up you're talking about?
Well, yes, sugar has, as an industry, as a sector, has been doing quite well in this year. I mean, everywhere that you look, it has been a very positive story. So whether it's about sugar consumption, which is on the higher side, the sugar exports last year were at 11.2 million tons of a record high. This time around, the government has allotted a quota of 6 million tons, so almost half of that. So yes, there is enough availability into the Indian markets. The demand is on the stronger side. Whatever monthly quota is being assigned is quickly being picked up as well. And the sugar as a sector is expected to good also because of ethanol as a story. And two, we are looking at a price cap on fuel being removed in the month of Jan in Brazil. That could be yet another reason for being long in sugar.
So, good idea to perhaps look at stocks as well, because if the demand rises and if we have enough capacity and to amp up the output, I think sugar companies also is something that one can look at. Of course, do your own due diligence and your own research, but this could be a potential place to invest in going forward. But let's talk about another massive ingredient.
Yes.
One thinks of when you talk about desserts, cakes, Christmas, and that's cocoa. How are the prices there? Because while sugar has soared, cocoa seems to have cooled off a bit.
Very slightly, but in this month, again in the month of November, we did see a 7-month highs for cocoa as well, and there are various concerns about the production here. So the two major producers, and 60% of cocoa comes in from Ghana and Ivory Coast, and both of these countries have said that they are going to add a $400 per ton premium to all cocoa sales. That is because the fertilizer costs have gone up, there is a supply disruption, the labor is higher, so everything that you talk about in sense of an input cost has gone higher, so they are going to charge on the higher side. And then in the recent few days, we also saw workers at port strike on Ivory Coast. That also added some premium to prices, is the reason we saw a 7-month high here as well. And then International Cocoa Organization says that while last year was a record cocoa crop at around nearly 5.2 million tons, this time around it is expected much lower at 4.8 million tons.
Okay.
So those are many of the factors for you to stay long in cocoa.
But if cocoa is going to get dearer, does it spell bad news for the likes of Nestle, Britannia, even unlisted companies like a Mondelez?
Well, even with a bit of a lag, but these companies do tend to pass on these higher prices to the consumers.
So that means more expensive chocolate for you and I.
It is. The only thing that could cap much higher cocoa prices is the fact that China is not buying. They are dealing with their own COVID concerns. And as the cocoa prices go higher, Europe doesn't want to buy it as well. Remember, Europe is not in a very good shape, and Europe is one of the major buyers of cocoa. So those could be a few reasons that you wouldn't see prices explode too much.
Guess what? I'm quitting this time around. Hot chocolate. So no cocoa consumption, no sugar consumption, no high bills. So but that seems to be the trend, and of course the seasonality factor is in play in a big way ahead of Christmas. So cocoa and sugar both look very promising right now, at least for the near term, next few months. With that, it's a wrap from us. Thank you for watching.